Hello, welcome to the Once the Force of Stars podcast. My name's Phil. Of course, I'm joined as usual by Dave and George. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good evening, my friend.
Dave doesn't exist. Good. Yes, so we're back for our latest episode of our Clone Wars breakdown. Sorry we couldn't bring it to you over the weekend. Our lives just kind of got in the way, and George wasn't even supposed to join us, but things get in the way. He's here. Although for an episode, there's not a huge amount to say on. Before we get into the meat of the episode, just kind of overviewing thoughts of it. I know, George, you kind of it was a forgetful episode for you, and Dave, not sure you enjoyed it much. So this will be an interesting one.
Good, George. Yes.
Oh, is right. I came into it really excited, not because of the previous episodes, because I sat there smug at 8 a.m, starting my normal work from home on a Friday, and oh look, Disney Plus, and I sent a photo to you guys at like 20 past 8, like hadn't loaded yet, and then I refreshed it and it was on. I was like, wow, this is magnificent. In my pajamas, in my home, watching Clone Wars. Not that I did that for years before, because I have done, but watching new Clone Wars. And then I say watching, and then the rest was kind of history. It was a very forgetful episode, politely put. I'm going to be quite calm on it, because I kind of mentioned last week that it's hard for a 4-episode arc to grip you for 4 episodes while watching it so spread out. I'm excited next week to probably rewatch the first 3 for the first time all together, back to back with episode 4. I think there can be a better viewing on it all. But also, it's hard to. You don't want to be the story arc before the arc everyone wants to see. It's kind of like in footballing terms. You never want to be the manager after Arsene Wenger. You want it to be the manager after the awful one after. So it's very much, we're having our starter. Let's get to the main course. We're almost there.
And yeah, I'm kind of with George on that. I was, after last week's episode wasn't my favorite. I really enjoyed the first episode, The Bad Batch. Really enjoyed it. There were 2 amazing moments in last week's episode. This didn't do it for me. I'm ready for the Bad Batch episodes to be over, and I know we've still got a whole another episode to go where we deal with sort of the ending of the story and how that plays out, and Trench's back and things like that. So we've got an episode to go, but I am very much ready to move on from the Bad Batch. There were some moments. There are some really strange, maybe not strange, but the way they've done this, very artistic takes on how they've used not much dialogue through this episode. It's very much shooty again. But yeah, I think we'll get onto that as well a little bit later. But yeah, it didn't do it for me, this episode, unfortunately.
Indeed. So I've watched this episode 20 minutes before coming on air because life gets in the way. I went to a supersonic flight back because my Disney Plus is installed yet, so it's kind of it's getting there. But I have to agree, it's a very forgetful episode, but it's a very forgetful episode again because we're in that 40 to 60 minute mark of the arc. Again, as what we were saying last week, it's hard to be, when you are spreading it out over 4 weeks, it's hard to keep the momentum going when you know it's supposed to be binge watched. When you watch these 4 back to back, it'll make a lot more sense. It'll flow a lot better. I believe it will. I believe it will. But again, as you were saying, it's the arc before the arcs everyone wants to see. This is the arcs that people potentially have seen. Yes, with some minor changes, as we talked about last week. Well, actually, not so minor in that case, but it's still, there's tweaks here and there. But it's essentially the same things we had with the animatics in years prior. So it's, again, we want the new stuff that's kind of the properly new stuff. There were some good moments. I love the Bad Batch as characters, but again, I'm also ready for them to be done. I'm also ready to move on and go, right, Bad Batch is cool, but please just give me new content is what I want. So yeah, again, I have to agree. For me, very forgetful episode.
I want them all to die. I think I've said this before. Just going to go straight out there for sweeping statement.
Episode 4 is literally just a mass explosion, and that's it. It's over.
I just had this vision of like Rogue One, where you've got like Echo, Rex, Anakin, and just one by one, like they're going, and then you're going to get to the final one, and Anakin's like, "See you all in a bit. I'm off to Coruscant." But no, but we'll find out. Again, it's a very weird one because the potential's there. And like I said, it's hard. When we did those Mandalorian episodes, I'd always see it twice on day one to get that. You've seen it once. Some people say you don't see a film properly until you see it twice. And I very much had that Mandalorian. Obviously, Clone Wars is a very different style. It's cartoon, it's 20 minutes, they're 4 episode arcs. Mandalorian was, 40 minutes, $20 million. So it's a hard comparison. Yeah. But the second viewing on some episodes I wasn't massively keen on helped. And the episodes I really didn't like, it didn't help. Or the worst of all, you love something once you watch it again, and then you dislike it.
Or in the case of Rise of Skywalker, you haven't seen the film till you've read the book.
Let's not go there. No. Let's not go there.
That's going to be fun next Wednesday. We're getting revelation after revelation, and this book's not come out. It's more exciting than the actual film, isn't it? Like which is the biggest, not even unpublished, unscreened plot twist yet.
Indeed. Oh, that is for another episode, but I couldn't quite help myself there. Again, this episode has some interesting parts in it. I'm kind of confused with one part especially. So, of course, episode opens up where we left off last time. They've found Echo. They need to kind of unhook him and get out of there, but they're kind of trapped. And what Tambor sends in, they're locked in this room. Cool, screenshot ever. Sends in something called the Decimator, which is this funny little kind of pro-droid looking droid here. You can see the images on the screen for those of you who are watching along. For those in audio, you also have to trust me on this. It's a floating ball with a laser beam coming out the front. Ends up cutting through both doors that the Bad Batch and Anakin, Rex, and Echo lock themselves into. He gets in there, and they manage to escape. They find a hole. Echo opens up a ventilation shaft on the roof. Wrecker chucks all of them but Anakin up, which is kind of hilarious. The constipated Anakin shot, yes. Again, though, just love the aesthetics of the shot. But the interesting part to me, though, is the Decimator itself. It gets in there, of course, it's searching for organic life. It's searching for organics to kill. It'll literally annihilate anything in its path. Why wasn't this used in the Clone Wars earlier? Why could this not just annihilate the Republic Army?
They did do that episode with the bomb. There was like a nuke that killed all the living creatures on that planet with the weird monkey species.
Yes, they did the story reel for this episode, the Decimator was used on some of the indigenous species of the planet. Yeah. So we did get to see it used, but it's obviously being cut out of this new version.
Yeah.
Was it violent?
I've only been back to kind of watch this, having back to watch the animatic of this one.
It was a little bit violent, yes. It's kind of obliterating anything in its path.
I mean, some incels have complained that the last episodes, they cut out a rendering of a slutty Padme. I don't know if anyone's seen this online.
Yeah. That's the pin-up. Yeah.
To me, as someone that didn't watch the pre-render, has a bit of common sense, thinking not only this is a kids show, Obi-Wan Kenobi walks into a room for some homemade out of Padme. He's like, yeah, clearly no attachments. It was very smart to get rid of that. I didn't know it existed until people were mocking.
So they replaced that scene. That whole bit was the implied, how Rex kind of implies that he knows what's going on between Anakin and Padme. So they replaced it with the very overtly, I hope you said hello to Padme for me, Paul.
Which is a lot better.
Oh, God, yeah.
But again, I'm curious knowing about these things that didn't happen. Sorry, that did happen in the pre-version that didn't happen in this version. It's very Star Wars for them to be chopping and changing things anyway. You know, people saying, oh, George Lucas would never have changed that. Well, he changed a lot of things. So let's not start that path. But to me, so as an outsider, I don't think it would have made too much difference had we have seen it being used on a tribe, because it's, it doesn't.
They're cannon fodder anyway.
Yeah, it would have. I'm assuming it was probably the final third, or was it a complete? If it's before the final third, then it just has no resemblance to. What's happening.
It's in that final fight. Yeah,
it's in the final battle. Yeah,
I will let you guys get to that.
Yeah, indeed. So, Dave, do you want to kind of take us to the next part?
Well, as we go past this up the elevator shaft, we got onto a ridgeway, basically a bridge higher than any bridge you've ever seen in your life, where all the characters. It's actually a beautiful shot. I was going to use it for our screenshot, our capture, but I like Anakin flying with his lightsaber out instead. But it's this bridge, a pipe basically high above the surface of the ground, and they're trying to escape, and then suddenly these droids are on both sides. and action commences with slipping and falling, and that's when Tech relearns that he's got the call of the creature. It's about, and I can't remember what they're called.
The Keeradaks. It's in the title.
I know it is literally in the title, and I couldn't remember it. So he has their call on his visor or his arm and calls them in to actually start a rescue mission. That's how they're going to escape from these droids, by getting on the backs and flying away back to where they first landed, back in among the indigenous people.
Yeah, it's very much taking the Eagles back to the Shire. It's that's that kind of that kind of level.
Much quicker than that, though. Less walking.
Much quickly. Followed by droids that can fly, which is kind of cool.
Didn't you want them to go? They fly now?
They kind of did.
I liked the flying, not the creatures, the droids, because I did think, wow, that's a really bizarre design for the last 2 episodes. And then when the wings expanding, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I quite like that. It's a bit different. And that's the stuff I kind of like. But it also explained the weird design too.
Yeah.
So you didn't even think, like, where are the B ones?
But, I think it's nice that you see they obviously are the ones that the bank is it what Tambo from the banking clan?
No, the Techno Union.
Techno Union had their version of battle droids. And then there were the other battle droids, there were super battle droids that the banking clan had, and they obviously made an amalgamation of all these droids that they had. So I do like the subtle differences that you get between the different people, but they're still, in essence, battle droids, but they have slight different purposes. So I do like that you're getting that across that as well, not just a B1 battle droid, a B1 battle droid. They didn't all have the same droids. Really nice touch, I thought that was.
Yeah, it depends on different factories, between the factories on Geonosis, the factories on Skeka Minor, and with between the Techno Union, between the Genosians, and between any of the separatists that have factories. They all have their own unique different flavors on it. Again, though, by the time we get to the fight itself, there's a very interesting part. Dave, I'm going to actually let you introduce this part, because I know you and I have differing opinions on the silence.
Yeah, it's strange. If you watch the episode, you get to, I think it's 11 minutes 30 into the episode. And from that, for the next 3 minutes, there is not one spoke. You get some of the garbled indigenous creatures talking. You get some of their very, very slight. Other than that, you have 3 minutes of this battle where there is not a word said, nothing. Anakin even does just a signal to say what they're going to do. There's not a word from him. And for me, in a 22-minute episode of animation, 3 minutes without any talking felt like a long pause. It took me right out the episode. Now, while it's a lot and there's action going on during it, and I get there's a lot of action, explosions, and they're trying to be tactical, and it's this big battle scene, for me, the 3 minutes just felt overly long. Like I was like, right, who speaks next? You go, I speak. Something along those lines. For me, it took me right out the episode. I couldn't quite enjoy that. I went back and watched it a couple of times even after, because I dropped our message in our messenger group. There's a 3 minute gap where there's just not a word said, and for me it's just jarring, and a long time in an episode of animated television for them not to be speaking. But I know you felt differently about it.
Indeed. George, do you want anything to say on that one, Tom?
I didn't know there was a silent scene until I got the message earlier. I kind of didn't notice it at the time. I've not watched it since, and I'm very curious about the next time. Now I know that it's in there. I'm curious about it. I literally I just hadn't even noticed it during the time. The 3 minutes is a lot. That's
You see, I was on the same thought. Although I knew the silence was in it, when I watched it, it didn't faze me. It felt very natural. It was just complete flow of the battle. It wasn't kind of overly convoluted. There wasn't too many voices trying to shout over each other. I actually kind of liked that silence of just efficient killing, as it were. But it's the flow of battle without having too much over the top. It's very kind of like Christoph Sears, or kind of like Umbara again, where it's not overly. You don't have voices and helmets over shouting at everyone else, or droids completely just go Roger, Roger throughout everything. It's just a very simplified battle, but it allows you to focus visually on what's happening in front of you. It makes you focus that little bit more when no one's talking. You pay attention to who's doing what instead. So I kind of liked it. And
you speak of Christophsis when you said that, and I just think the whole end of this kind of took that very much similar feel. The same droids on the walker droids the one you've got on screen now, the round head with the legs, and now there was Anakin taking one down, and obviously Rex is taking one down as well with Echo, but it just felt very much like that was taken directly from, because it was very much the same, almost the same sort of attack plan on it. And for me, that just felt lifted from another episode. There was nothing. I like the Clone Wars because they're quite unique in the way they handle a lot of things. This felt like literally a lift from another episode, and that for me as well kind of took away from this end battle. That I was like, oh, I've seen this before, not just in an animatic. I've seen this actual strategy before and this battle before, and that took away a little bit for me.
I have to counter that though with the point that it is clones. It's Rex using his tactics. You kind of expect not to see the same thing over and over again, but you do expect to see a pattern. That's how he knew that they were in trouble, because their strategies were being used against him. Yeah,
but at that point they had it, or they were free of that. I just think it was the fact that it was Anakin with his lightsaber up on the top of it again, cutting off the leg. That was for me, not the play of the episode, because yes, that's absolutely the way it would work in the episode, but just for me, just felt like I've seen this exact scene before, and it feels like it's peeled.
It is very copy and paste.
A new background. What I did like about the actual ending of it, with the I keep saying the indigenous people because I don't know their names. Sorry about that. It felt very much Return of the Jedi, like this indigenous population helping out and taking part in this big battle and being a little bit cannon fodder, but also helping out as well. So it did have a bit of a Return of the Jedi vibe to it towards the end, which I kind of liked, but still it wasn't enough to lift the episode where I would have liked it.
Indeed. George?
I don't remember Christophsis, so...
But you've just done your full watch through.
It's the one that the movie's based around as well, that battle on that.
Okay.
And we'll go back to it later on in the series.
The movie, I really don't remember that too. When you watch all of them, it's
blurs, yeah.
Yeah, and when it's those ones, I love the episode. I love the episode set before the movie, and then you get the movie, and the rest is history. I don't remember. Sorry, guys. What I did want to go back to, the kind of oil rig tube thing you had.
Yeah,
I loved that scene. It felt very Indiana Jones. I think that was why they were on both sides, and I did expect Wrecker to die. Again, as someone that hasn't watched these episodes, and not because I dislike them, but I don't feel there's any stakes at the minute. And I get that it's Clone Wars, but Clone Wars has a history of not being afraid to kill someone. I think we may get that I'd hope episode 4 to explain. Obviously, they're not here in the later episodes because they'd have been the Emperor's Royal Guard without a shadow of a doubt. His own Suicide Squad. But
there are a couple of clones that end up being the Emperor's Guard if you read Lords of the Sith.
I know some are Purge Troopers, aren't they? Clones become Purge Troopers as well. Because in Fallen Order, I know this is off topic, but so obviously the Emperor's head of the Empire. His number
I will
2 is
end up
Darth
playing
Vader.
this game eventually.
The Emperor's number 2 is Darth Vader. Darth Vader's number 2 is the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor's number 2s are the Inquisitors, and then the Inquisitors' number 2s are the Purge Troopers, and the Purge Troopers' number 2s are the Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So there's a pyramid, and then there's that.
I think you're right. When you talk about the peril of it, because we know Anakin's not going to get hurt. We know Rex makes it through to the Ahsoka arc in the Mandalorian siege, so we know he's getting through. So you're right.
Well, we also know Rex is in Rebels, so we know he goes much further than the Clone Wars.
Yeah, so you know he's nothing's going to happen to him. So you're right. You've only got these 4 characters that if you don't kind of feel overly much for them, it's kind of like they're the only ones that you've got any peril about. So it is a strange one because I mean, even Echo, you're like, well, he's more machine now than man, but he's
just an evil.
It's more with Wrecker. You get that scene where he's scared of Anakin lifting him up like 2 feet, and then when it's the don't look down thing, and then there's all the soldiers. They're like sort of rubbing my hands. Here we go.
Excellent.
Nothing came from it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll see that much peril for the Bad Batch in the next episode because I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the animatic, but it's more the going forward to the end. I reckon by the end of the Siege of Mandalore, there's going to be a lot of casualties. But also, if we end up seeing Order 66 again, there will be casualties that we don't see coming. Who that will be, I can't tell. I don't know. I'm glad I don't know. I'm really excited to see the new content. Again, this is one of those parts where it's like, okay, I have seen the Bad Batch before. I do love the arc, but I have seen this before. I know what happens.
I mean, I watched the. Sorry, Phil, just cut you off there. Sorry.
No, go.
Just saying, I mean, watched the fourth episode on the animatic as well tonight after I'd watched episode 3 again. So I kind of seen what's coming next week as well. So who knows what they'll change. They have made slight tweaks in all of these episodes. So they're not going to play out exactly like it. We've got a Mace Windu, Kenobi heavy episode as well next week. So it does have a bit of an extra bite to it. So I think that's really fun that that's coming up. But yeah, so it will be nice to kind of get to this. I really want to get to, obviously we're going to Ahsoka's story for the last 8 episodes, and I can't wait to get there.
Well, Ahsoka plus Order 66, maybe. We'll see.
Oh, definitely, without a single doubt.
Yeah.
It's going to be even more... I think it's going to be Order 66 from the clones' point of view. As in, you are going to follow these clones, and it's going to hit you like that. And it's going to be 10 times worse than the films.
Oh, I think so.
It could well be. I mean, especially, we've only seen a few Jedi killed in the films as well. There's plenty more that characters we've been introduced to throughout the Clone Wars we could see go. It's going to be interesting. It really is.
They're just going to have like the John Williams song on loop for like a 20-minute episode.
Oh God, no!
And then it's gonna end with the little Wookiee youngling from the season 5 arc.
Oh, don't! Oh,
and that's gonna be the one that be the one that kills people. And do you know what they should do?
It's gonna be this Wookiee head just rolls along the screen.
It's gonna have the Wookiee dying, then it's gonna cut to Yoda on Kashyyyk, and it's gonna feel even worse.
Oh, and then it'll literally just go with the Mortal Kombat ending of fatality, and that'll be it done. We have some good stuff to come up. I mean, this is the thing with this episode again. We do. So go on, George. Yeah.
I'll say what I hope. I know I'm really off balance here, off tag, whatever. I would like the final shot of the Clone Wars to be Palpatine smiling. I've had this vision in a long time. So many episodes finished with him smiling, and it was like nod, nod, wink, wink. I want it to be a public laugh, like just him smiling. Final shot. That's just going to be devastating. Don't know whether it will. It's a bit of a dark way for it to go, but I will hold you to that in case it does happen.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, anything that ends with it, he's got to show up at some point. It doesn't have to say anything because obviously we know the original actor passed away, and then they had Tim Curry, who was unfortunately had a stroke, so he's not going to be the plot. And who knows? They have brought in
McDermott, yeah.
So you never know. We might get a tiny bit more Emperor, which would be lovely, and he could be in a tube with things attached to him, and be having babies left and right. And
I'll
write the novel; it'll be fine.
Oh, don't. Oh, yes, that would. I'll read the novel. It's fine. I'll read to the film. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Again, I think overall so far it's been a good arc. I'm interested to see what happens next. So I think the Poltec were kind of cool. The Bad Batch again, love the Bad Batch, but I'm kind of done with them. I'm ready to see what's next. Again, for an episode, there wasn't a huge amount to say either, because again, it was that really is the meat. This is the end of the meat of the episode. Again, it's that between an 80-minute arc, we've gone from the 20 to 60-minute arc here with these last 2 episodes. It's that when you watch it in one big sequence, it's fine, but as we keep saying, when you watch it bit by bit, I think with the next few episodes, though, because this was already done like that, the next arc, maybe slightly will flow better. But I don't know if they could, because then when you add the whole series together, that may seem a bit jarring, if that makes sense. So be interested to see what they do.
Definitely will be.
It's more intriguing. Like I said, it's not the Bad Batch's fault. It's now preceding, the final few episodes. So I don't want to sound like I've been like sort of crapping on it and stuff. I'm just everyone's in that mindset. We're waiting to see what comes. We're waiting to see what's next. Yeah. And again, episode 4 finish off the story arc. That might really help with the first 3. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on Friday.
Yeah,
Friday legally.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's going to be good. We're getting a lot more Kenobi. We're getting a lot more Mace Windu in the next episode as well. So it does break that up from what we've been following, just the Bad Batch and Anakin. So again, really looking forward to seeing that fully rendered into Clone Wars glory.
Sorry, excuse me. Yes, indeed. It's going to be good to see what happens next. I think yeah, we're ready to move on, ready to see how it ends, ready to. It was a solid start. It was. I wish they'd done something brand new for it. I'm not gonna lie. I wish this wasn't included in the 12 episodes we got. I wish they had done this as a bonus too. It's like you get here's 12 episodes plus let's give you the ones we've already released, but finish them off. Put the tweaks in there, but basically give us 12 new along with this and the Crystal Crisis of Utapau finished off and polished. That would have been nice. I understand why they couldn't have done that with budgeting when we'll make the next 8 as big as they're going to make it, but
they could have just not made Resistance. Sorry to be that guy. Sorry to be that guy. Talking about saving money and budget there. That's the first thing.
Oh dear.
I know it's got its fans. I did watch 1.5 seasons.
You did, absolutely.
In a day.
I'm sure I will one day finish off the last 6.
Yes, we will. We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh,
they're on Disney. They're on Disney Plus, but they didn't end up on my watch list.
I can well imagine. Although now you can watch it in glorious 4K and torture yourself even more. It's fine. Just watch the last episode. You'll see Solo Ren. You'll be fine.
But it's not Adam Driver.
It's not worth it. We'll get to that last episode. When Phil and I talk about it in length.
Well, we'll see it length. But anyway, yes. I don't think there's anything else to add on this final episode, guys.
One thing I'd like to add before we do go off air today, actor Max van Sydow passed away at the age of 90. Law San Tekka from The Force Awakens. So just really another member of the Star Wars family who has left us. So rest in peace to him and all the good wishes and prayers and thoughts, which people don't mean anything, but hey, to his family out there.
Indeed, another one has joined the Force around us, but unfortunately that is the way of the world. But yes, George, any final closing thoughts?
Not really as such. I'm not going to promote the Disney Plus VPN trick every episode, but we did discuss it on the last 2.
We do need to speak to them. Get some sponsorship.
Phil's got his send off. Mine's just going to be advertising Disney Plus. Brackets. I got mine for free, which we can discuss at a later time. Legally for free. Sorry, that sounds really bad.
Yes, you can. You lucky SOB. But again, we'll get onto that. You could have gifted it to me. You've already paid for yours, damn it.
I want my money back.
Of course you do, you cheapskate. That's right. That's it. And that's time to end the show. Yeah, as usual. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ones of the Force of Star Wars Podcast, at the Force Podcast. You can find the video for this later on our YouTube and Facebook pages, and of course the audio version will be up later on our Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and iTunes. You can find the link for our description for our merchandise description down below. Until next time, we've been Ones of the Force. May the Force be with you.